Hello and welcome to the RWBY Podcast. I am your host, coming at you live from the bottom of the Missouri Ocean. It's Mediaocrity 4.
You poor soul.
That's definitely a thing.
You poor soul.
Under the sea.
Hello everyone, my name is
I'll stop singing before we get the video flagged.
Oh.
Man. Hello everyone, my name is Bolsa247. I am the 100% legit scholar.
I am very happy because I am realizing how amazing Renora was in Chibi. I'm Dudewutthehec.
And I completely agree because I fucking love Nora especially. Hi, I'm Kitty-Kirishima.
I am so glad to have you on this podcast.
I knew!
I like you already. It's great.
For those of you who don't know, Kitty-Kirishima is an artist, and she actually drew my icon, my profile picture, whatever. The picture of me, or it's not of me, but it's the thing you're probably seeing at the below the video.
Could you explain that? Could you explain that any worse?
No, I don't think I could.
I drew the thing. I did the thing. That's what it means.
Did the thing.
Drew your YouTube avatar.
She was in our RWBY Facebook group that we have, and she got on the Discord, and she actually somehow managed to stick around, so we have her on a podcast now.
Yay.
Yay!
It's one of the few that we didn't chase off somehow.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
anyways.
yeah, today we are talking about RWBY Chibi because that teaser got dropped on us yesterday or the day before.
Yikes.
Everything is like running together for me because I got finals next week. We decided to do this podcast talking about RWBY Chibi Season 1 because that's something we haven't talked about nearly enough in the RWBY podcast.
Yeah, we mentioned it, but we really haven't gone over it by itself. We haven't given the attention it deserves because, let's be honest, Chibi's very good, and to quote High Powered, who unfortunately, I think this is High Powered's quote, who could not be here today, Chibi is actually better at setting out what it is meant to be than RWBY itself is. And
it sets the universe up in the first 2 episodes.
And unfortunately, I have to agree with him on that. Chibi does do what it sets out to do better. Granted, it's much simpler what it sets out to do, but it does achieve its goal better than RWBY does. At least it has so far. So.
Yeah, I've heard a couple people say that. I've said that since it started. I know High Powered has too. There's been a couple other people. It's actually kind of, I guess, a common consensus amongst people who have watched the show, who kind of like understand what it is and what it's striving out to be.
Yeah, people with half a brain, basically.
Yeah, which is
about a 16th of the RWBY fan base at the most, I'd say, probably. Which is true with any fan base.
Congratulations, you put the audience for this podcast just down to a level.
Triggered. Just kidding.
With any fan base, though.
I thought I pissed him off enough with my coffee video.
Yeah, we don't have a big enough audience for me to piss off that many.
By the way, the coffee video, even though I stand by every word of it, it was a troll. I was being a troll. I was trolling you guys.
Yeah. Honestly, anybody who actually has the patience and the wherewithal to listen to an entire one of our podcasts is probably in that 1/16th anyways. Yeah. Not to brag, but that's pretty much true.
It definitely requires an attention span.
Yeah, if you're gonna put that much time and effort into something that's analyzing RWBY, not just RWBY itself, then clearly you have put thought into analyzing RWBY yourself as well. Even if we don't agree with you necessarily, you're clearly putting thought into it. It's not about necessarily just agreeing with you; it's how you go about it. So anyway. To talk about, Chibi was something I was skeptical about Chibi because I was worried, they're going to focus on that instead of the show itself, and is it actually going to be funny? And my fears were completely unfounded, thankfully, because Volume 4 was the best volume so far, and that's like not really even an opinion, like it's factually the best volume. And Chibi was great. Like there's a few gags that like really don't hit, but the rest in general, like
considering there's like over 70 of these bits.
Yeah, it took me a long time to watch them all last night and take my notes. It took me longer than I was expecting. Let's just put it that way.
Considering the series all up together is just over 104 minutes long.
Yeah,
But then you could take 24 seconds off each episode, and then that's the actual time.
Yeah. I know you do. You don't watch the show, but you can kind of draw parallels with Naruto, because Naruto also has a show kind of like Chibi called Rock Lee Springtime of Youth.
What a surprise! A parallel with Naruto.
There's always.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not surprised.
Well, Attack on Titan does this too, but Attack on Titan Junior High is stupid, guys.
That doesn't even sound like it even slightly makes sense. I didn't even know that existed, and I'm watching Attack on Titan right now.
Well, and the thing is, we'll get into more of like how this relates to RWBY Chibi, but with the whole character stuff, like character gags, Rock Lee Springtime of Youth does a good job with that. RWBY Chibi is way better than Rock Lee Springtime of Youth. Actual canon RWBY, say what you want about Naruto, RWBY does not really hold a candle to it, from a character standpoint at least. Or from an action standpoint, in my opinion, but that's a video for a different day.
I mean, and definitely not yet. I mean, with what everything Naruto's been able to do, you can't...
Well, like, it's not even about the quality of animation or choreography. I'm talking about, like, theming and the emotional narrative of the fights and why they're fighting. Like, RWBY's never really got it. It's not there yet. The stakes have not been personal yet.
True. But anyways, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Chibi.
Yay!
Who wants to pet Beowulf?
Which the first episode actually does have a fight that has more thought put into it than the first episode of RWBY Volume 3. That's right. I steal Fat Man Falling's jokes all the time.
And he will eventually notice you, Senpai, and he will steal your jokes.
I actually don't agree with
it's actually Celtic Phoenix that I've talked to.
He will eventually notice you, Senpai, and he will eventually steal your jokes. Don't worry. He'll go around one day.
I don't actually have jokes. I don't. I steal them. I'm not a funny person in real life. I live vicariously, not bicuriously, vicariously through other comedians.
I actually disagree with that, because I thought the fight in the first episode was garbage in RWBY Chibi. That's actually one of my least favorite skits.
Last time I was seeing someone else slap a sword out of their hand.
I think it's more of a forgettable skit than anything.
Yeah, it's one of my...
It's up there with the skit of, like, Blake cleaning her ears, or another skit from that same episode, which is Weiss being thrown at the pin the tail on the donkey.
Well, see, at least that one only took 2 seconds. So I'm kind of okay with that one. At least that one's kind of made me giggle, and it was only 2 seconds. I'm okay with that. But, okay, so if we're going to actually start getting into analyzing the Chibi itself, so a couple overarching things I noticed was that it got a little bit better as it went on, actually. Like, once it got to... Basically, once... Team Juniper showed up, and not necessarily because Juniper showed up, although, okay, it got better because they went to longer, more thought-out skits and less throwaway skits, and the throwaway skits tended to not be as funny in general, and I think Media was mentioning this earlier today or yesterday, that a lot of the best skits aren't the funniest ones, but they're just clever, and they make you think a little bit, and there was a lot less of that in the first, I don't know, say... 5 to 6, 7 episodes or whatever it was. They didn't do that as much. There were a lot more throwaway jokes and throwaway skits. Whereas the later ones, even if they didn't hit, I appreciate they at least put a lot of effort into like kind of having a point to the skits, which I liked. So I thought that was kind of cool. That even I didn't notice that, but even when I first watched all the episodes, but Chibi actually I think improved as it went on overall. And another main point, besides the points we've already made, is that and I've kind of mentioned this, that holy shit, Renora absolutely stole Chibi and fucking completely stole the show with Chibi.
Which I predicted as soon as they announced it. Like, I remember I was in the special screening of RWBY Volume 1 last year.
About the...
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that and not disagree with me, because I am a hardcore Renora shipper, as you know. And so it's hard for me to be unbiased. And I think, honestly, that that's true even if you're not biased towards them. And the reason why...
and I don't know if I've made this point in my reviews, but if I did, it would have been in the What If RWBY Volume 1 was good, which I have not rewatched since I uploaded it. And that's, Ren and Nora were always a comedy duo. They were like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello. They were that old school, like, kind of honeymooners type comedy duo. And that was the dynamic that they brought into the core show. That dynamic put into the context of Chibi just makes that dynamic shine so much more.
It does, yeah. That's what I was noticing, is that Ren and Nora, and I don't, if you noticed it before, they work so well as people. I love them as a couple. The reason why people generally like them and most people aren't against their relationship is because they're funny together. They're opposites. The opposites attract thing. And
one's very bad, one's very quiet.
Yeah, one's very
loud. A lot of mileage out of that.
And Chibi just brings that to the extreme. So other than Neo, like, the thing is, Neo doesn't work as well as Ren, even though she's funny in Chibi, because she doesn't speak at all. But Ren is very down. He's by far the most downplayed, deadpan character. So with everybody else being generally exaggerated, that works amazing and allows him a lot of great jokes. And Nora is the craziest out of everybody, so they can just push her to 11. And that works really well. So, even Toph saw what I did there. So that's why I think they work so. And then their dynamic obviously becomes even easier because when they're together. But I think they worked. I think the proof is that they worked really well, even when it wasn't specifically Renora scenes. Like if it was just Ren, he generally stole the show. The Spin the Bottle skit is a perfect example of that. There's no Nora. Nora doesn't do anything, or she isn't even there in that skit. And Ren is still super fun. Like Ren steals the show on that skit, and it's one of the best skits. And there's ones with Nora where she's the one where Nora steals the mustache and turns the interview around when she's being questioned by Neptune and Sun. That's another super amazing one. It's one of the best ones also, and it's just Nora. So they work great together, but the way their personalities are, it works great even individually. And they still manage to steal the scene even when they're not together in Chibi. Also, I noticed Pyrrha's never funny in this at all. She's so, I think that's something else people could have predicted, but her personality... She said sorry. She said sorry more times in Chibi than she ever did in the actual show. I think in the media when I was marathoning right before, the night before the Volume 4 finale came out, did I talk to you and say, she only says sorry twice in the actual show?
Yeah.
She only does the I'm sorry line 2 times. And then they fucking do it to death in Chibi. Just because it was memeable. But, so yeah, Pyrrha is super not funny. Sorry for all the Pyrrha and Arcos fans, but she's really not that funny.
They do some funny stuff with her.
Yeah, but she's
she's kind of another straight person. Not sexually. I mean, as far as the rules of comedy go, she's another one that jokes bounce off of.
Mm-hmm. She's very awkward,
but not as well. It doesn't work as well as Ren.
Well, that's because she's usually working off of Jean, and Jean's hilarious in this overall. Everybody, I think, is hilarious overall, but
that love triangle episode.
We know that's literally the best one.
I mean, that made me produce the thirsty meme.
Lovely.
That's a lot of people's favorite one. Is the if only one.
Then there's the unholy purist scream meme as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
enough.
That's definitely super memeable. So do we want to talk about our least favorite ones first, or like our favorite ones first, or do we want to go chronologically?
I want to go chronological because that's what
All
I
right,
have
let's
the slideshow.
So
That's what I have the slideshow set up as.
That's what I have to do. That's how my notes are taken. So, episode 1, the first skit is the Ruby eating chocolate chips one, and baking the cookies, which is cute. Like, it's a good intro. It's not super funny. By the way, after I'm sure a lot of our audience probably now at this point has watched Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and now I know RWBY Chibi came first, but I can't help but think of Kana every time RWBY eats something in the show now. Every time RWBY and RWBY Chibi eat something, it looks like Kana.
It's actually it's a typical cartoon reaction.
Mm-hmm. It just makes me think of that now.
It's called cheating. Animating actual eating is a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Well, what have we talked about in that first episode so far?
When initially watching the episode, it was very unexpected. The katana.
So, I love it. The katana was the best in that episode.
That was. I think that is actually the highlight of the entire show. Like that set the tone. It was just like, oh, this isn't going to just be like cutesy, like stuff like that. Like this is like Animaniacs territory.
Yeah, that one. The fact that they went there in the first episode was like, this is a good sign. I approve. Like, that would set the tone for most of the best ones being super zany. Like, I thought they were just gonna. The thing that I fear was they're just gonna try to make it cute and just be like lighthearted, just for the sake of being lighthearted, just to make people forget about the bad stuff that's happening in Volume 3. Instead, they went, no, we're gonna just be really ridiculous, and that is way better. And I think that's what made the show so successful. Personally,
sweet innocent RWBY
is
kind of again right now,
and thus spawned the Genji crossover memes.
Oh gosh, no!
Which I actually completely approve of. Those are pretty funny.
Hold on, who's Genji?
From Overwatch.
Overwatch with Genji has the katana.
The brother who's mostly a robot.
Genji has a katana.
Remember?
I don't play Overwatch though.
Ren's dad is Hanzo.
So yeah, unless they get turned into like a really big meme, I don't like. I know Tracer, I know Hanzo, I know Reinhardt, and I know Mercy. That's about it. I also know that there's like a cowboy guy.
Yeah, McCree.
It's high noon.
Yeah, you haven't seen the high noon memes? Come on, man. Weak.
Oh.
It's high noon.
And I know that.
But yeah, that's a katana. That set a great precedent for the show. I think that made me very happy, and it's definitely one of the better.
And man, do they try to get the mileage out of that joke?
They do. It doesn't ever hit the same high it does the first time.
It's like when Carrie wrote that, he was very proud of himself.
He was extremely proud of himself for that one, no question. In fairness, he deserves to be proud of himself for that one.
That was Carrie and Miles together that wrote that skit. But I feel like Carrie wrote most of these skits and also directed all of them.
So now we know that RWBY is into something at least.
Yeah,
sorry,
White Rose shippers. There's nothing on the female body that can be compared to a katana.
Or maybe it was a weapons magazine.
As far as I know.
Because you know what? We know the one true ship. RWBY and a scythe.
RWBY X Crescent Rose, yep.
So who knows? Maybe it was an actual picture of a katana.
I mean, either way, it's funny. Either way, that's part of why it's funny is because we can speculate on what it actually is. And everything. So
Yeah, but my favorite part of that freaking magnum opus Carrie did in that first episode is it's actually the real punchline in that, which isn't now that's a katana. It's this is filth.
Oh yeah, that's also really good.
I love finds out that it's smut, calls Blake out, kicks Blake in the face, and then when Blake asks for it back,
he throws the book in her.
Oh yeah, sorry. My mistake.
That was another of my great.
Can I have my book back, Ruby?
We're gonna do the slapstick, physical Looney Tunes comedy. That was also great.
You can't do cartoon comedy without slapstick. I've seen shows try.
I'm just glad they did. I'm glad they did because I was worried they weren't.
But then when Blake is like, "Can I have my book back?" Ruby's like, "Later." Like, oh, Ruby, do you need a minute?
No, she needs about 4. Oh, no, about 15.
Yes, for those who didn't catch it in the very first episode, there is a masturbation joke with Ruby.
Yep.
Your innocence is dead.
So,
Masturbation joke in RWBY Chibi.
Hey, I was
from Ruby. No. It's not even from like Jean or Son or somebody you would expect to make that kind of joke.
Yeah. So what's the? Yeah. So I mean, the first episode did start off pretty good. What's the next one? Episode 2 was the cat burglar, which I didn't think that was all that funny personally. Like I kind of saw where they were going with it, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought that.
This is when it was clear that there's all sorts of different jokes you're in store for in RWBY. There's sex jokes with the Ninjas of Love. There's a lot of physical gags. There's like wordplay stuff. There's very big character moments like episode 2 is when we first got Blake versus Y. And there's also racist jokes. Usually at Blake's expense.
Yep.
I just want that meme of that little kid going like, "That's racist!" It's hilarious. If you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anything.
Exactly. So what's the next one? The ice skating one, which was like I thought that was like a cute little throwaway one with
Yeah.
Last time we take her to the pool.
Yeah, ice skating was still in episode 2. My favorite part of episode 2, and it's one of those skits that kind of gets overlooked. It's yarn. It's just called yarn.
Yep, the yarn. The yarn one was great. That's my favorite from that episode as well by far.
Again, like it's kind of a racist joke. Racism against fun that don't exist in real life. Calm down.
No racism. I'm just kidding.
But comedy, at least in my mind, there's 3 things, or like 3, like a triforce of comedy. There's shared experience, like, oh hey, yeah, I've dealt with that. That's funny. Suffering, which is the one that is always funny, like no matter how many times you see it.
Always fun.
And the other one is
expenses.
And the other one is subversion of expectations. Yarn like writes the rule book on how to do subversion of expectations, at least as far as RWBY Chibi goes. They do a lot of different jokes like this, where they'll like set up and you're like, oh yeah, punchline, Blake's a cat, yarn. But then RWBY comes in and is like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and you're just like, huh.
What? And then at the end of the episode, they pay it off.
The 5th one.
And then at the end of the episode, they pay it off.
Oh yeah, yeah, because the
cat's like the cereal boxes.
Is that in the next episode?
Yeah.
No, that's two episodes later. That's in episode 4.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
they do make lots of cat jokes with Blake.
I'll make an example with Mr. Bean. Have you watched that show, Mr. Bean?
I've seen a few episodes.
It's like, okay, Mr. Bean is taking care of a child in a pram. He gets a few like helium balloons and ties it to the pram. What you wouldn't expect is the pram to float away, but it does. And then that's the whole episode: him trying to get the pram down again, and eventually getting like a little BB gun, like a pellet gun from like a shoot the target thing, and firing it the other way just to shoot another balloon down, so the pram will go back down to the ground. This is all Mr. Bean. It's like it's completely unexpected situation, like opening up a random cupboard and seeing the person just crammed in the cupboard. Like, wait, what? And he just takes no notice of it and just shuts the door again, and then goes into another cupboard in the kitchen, like above the countertop, and just pulls out a random long broom which should not be able to fit in the cupboard. Just like, what the hell? It's like, you know how physically it should work, but then it doesn't work like that. It's like a magic trick or something. And we love it.
And so is that the last one of that episode?
Yeah, the last one in episode 2 is Blake versus Y, part 1. The epic,
That's another one.
The character arc. Who said that RWBY Chibi doesn't have a plot?
Yeah,
that is another great way of literally setting up the world of RWBY.
I'm actually not that big of a fan of the Blake versus Y saga, but it's certainly something.
I don't love it either, but I am going to use it to make a case for something for RWBY Chibi Volume 2. But not right now. We'll do it at the end. But I definitely, in my notes, you know what I'm going to be talking about. So episode 3, I do like the Jean phone calls with Weiss. I think that's super fun.
Oh, yes.
Like,
I relate so hard. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that was me in high school.
That was Weiss.
If Miles can do something well, it's act awkward as fuck. He definitely can do that well. I mean, he did a good job voice acting that. It's delivered well, and it's what you kind of expect from Jean to do, but it's still fun. It's funny nonetheless, even though you expect them to do a skit like that. It's still funny. And again, the over exaggeration of when she gets the phone, he just completely breaks and then acts like nothing happened. Again, that kind of joke's been done, but it's still funny. It's one of those ones.
This is the thing. Like this whole show takes way more inspiration from Warner Brothers than it does anything else.
Which I approve of completely, because myself and my entire family are huge Looney Tunes fans.
Looney Tunes. I already said like the whole Animaniacs thing.
Yeah, I loved Animaniacs.
There's even a little bit of Tiny Toons Adventure with some of the more toilet jokes. Or a toilet joke in particular is like I remember being ripped straight from like Tiny Toons Adventures.
Okay, and the next is much more to say about that one. I mean, it's good. That was a solid one.
Yeah, that was a solid skit. That episode also had reloading,
which was like pointless. I didn't understand. There's nothing to talk.
That's a physical gag. It's like, oh, she's firing fire, ice, gravity. Oh, Ruby just got herself hurt because gravity launches her instead of launches the bullet.
Yeah. So, okay.
Then there's Blake Tag, which is another one of the like kind of more forgettable skits.
You're it.
Yeah. And then Blake vs. Y Part 2, where Blake is hiding in the fridge. Or freezer, rather.
Which, the best part about that is how adorable they make Y. Like, the way he, like, falls on his butt and stuff. Like, it's just cute, you know?
Yeah,
they do-
Zwei is the one character who is actually cuter in Chibi than in the actual series.
Actual show. Yes, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, like everyone in Chibi looks cute, but they look like these weird like
Yeah.
Bratz dolls.
They look like caricatures.
I get that that's what they were going for, and it's at least something, and it's at least nice to look at. But I don't know.
I'm actually glad
one of the legitimate strengths of like the core series is its character design. So
that is very true. And actually, I like that they didn't go overly cute because I think it helps them focus on being funny rather than just trying to be adorable.
There's some like nightmare fuel faces in this show.
Yeah, and I appreciate that that's what they went
especially
for.
Actually from Nora of all people.
Oh, of course, yeah. So the next episode 4, I don't even remember what the first skit was. It was so boring.
The first skit was Fighting Game.
Yeah, that was boring.
I actually I actually really like the skit because like I've been there like playing co-op with like my uncles or sisters or whatever. And it's the one where Ruby chucks Yang's
the
controller across the room and then wins.
And Yang goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah, and Yang gets angry. But
the thing is, like, I play Super Smash Bros. Melee, which it's not a fighting game. It's actually more difficult than fighting games. Hate me all you want, it's true. And so I get it what they're going for, but I don't know. I just thought it was kind of forgettable. I didn't think it was super funny.
And then they had Burn. That's RWBY Part 2. That versus Part 2. 8-bit. In that fight.
Yeah, Red like dude, the Chibi soundtrack straight sounds like something from Mega Man. And that I cannot give the Jeff Williams higher praise. Like the alterations he made to all the core songs. The only one I'm not a fan of is the From Shadows Chibi version. How it has that like laid back island chant thing, the yeah 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 yeah. Yeah, that's the only one I don't like. But straight up, the Red Like Roses Part 2 8-bit version sounds like something from Mega Man.
Okay, yeah, the soundtrack's, I mean, everything, the soundtrack's always really good. And he definitely Jeff knocks it out of the park for Chibi as well. I don't know, I'm one of those people that some people will say, like, oh, every season there's people saying this volume wasn't as good soundtrack-wise, and I honestly never agree with that.
All the variations of the Boop soundtrack in RWBY Chibi.
Yeah,
Chibi notwithstanding, and we'll probably do a podcast about the soundtrack when Volume 4 soundtrack gets released.
Yep.
The scores have gotten better and better with each volume, but the actual songs have gotten weaker and weaker with each volume.
I actually think the weakest thing about the Volume 3 soundtrack was the fact that it was mastered too quiet. Because I have a playlist of all the RWBY like rock songs that I listen to in my car, because my job involves driving like a motherfucker. And
trucker.
No, actually I drive a car, unfortunately. It's more boring. But
and the pun doesn't work.
Yeah, and the pun doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. I saw where you're going with that. I respect the effort. But the problem actually is that it's mixed differently. It's mixed way quieter. Volume mastered more quietly.
Yeah, I would not have noticed that.
It's really weird.
Like the lyrical content. I'm not a music major by any means. So as far as like music theories and like what actually counts as a good beat, I can only kind of go with what I feel, I don't have any kind of educational authority on that. But I am a writer, and the lyrical content, like the rhymes and stuff, in a lot of the songs are a lot weaker They get a little weaker and weaker.
Yes. But I honestly, at this point, I mean, also keep in mind, you can't. The other thing that bugs me is you can't judge Volume 4 yet because we haven't heard all the songs in full yet.
True.
Which, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would say that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when the soundtrack comes out.
I want to say that each of Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 definitely had the most standout songs, so I will say Volume 1 soundtrack was the best, but at this point, I want to say that from Volumes 2 through 4 so far, they're about the same. And it just depends on your taste. Because Volume 1 had Red Like Roses Part 2 and the original intro song.
Yeah, This Will Be the Day, and Mirror Mirror, which I love a lot.
I actually don't love Mirror Mirror that much. But either way, Red Like Roses Part 2 and This Will Be the Day are both incredible. They're both showstoppers. So with both of those on Volume 1 soundtrack, that makes Volume 1 better. Whereas Volume 2, the best song by far was Boop. And that's not just coming from a North Shore. It's Jeff's favorite song.
It's certainly up there for me. I like Time to Say Goodbye.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Anyway.
High Power's not here to control us right now, so we gotta get back to that.
Alright, back to episode 5.
I still think the songs are really good, and Volume 4, like the Black Sun song, that beat is really unique and really awesome, so that I like the effort for that, and the ballad is possibly the best ballad so far. So I still think Volume 4 is really strong soundtrack-wise. So
episode 4 we're at now, I think.
Yeah.
So we're still in episode 4.
Ice Sculpture.
So the first skit was terrible.
Ice Sculpture is one of the best skits in the whole
Ice Sculpture
show.
is funny. It's not one of my favorites, but it is funny.
It is like in my top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the reaction. I like Ruby's reaction. I just thought it was a less funny version of the racing one, but we'll get to that one later.
So, like, it's really hard talking about comedy, because if you have to explain a joke, that means it's not funny. But
yes, exactly.
Which is why I'm trying to keep it more like kind of like my philosophy on comedy when I'm explaining these jokes, and not the actual mechanics at which these skits achieve it, because I'm not an idiot like some people.
Some of the jokes you need to have watched the show.
I almost called out one of the most like legitimately talented YouTubers that talks about anime. He goes like too in depth and stuff, and just kind of ruins the magic. Anyway, so these are all character bits, and with the ice sculpture, you see how 3 different characters, Ruby, Blake, and Weiss, would make an ice sculpture. Ruby does it the traditional way with with her chisel and hammer. Weiss uses dust, and Blake uses her semblance enhanced with dust. And that helps with kind of the world building within at least Chibi, but even with the series, because the best way I can explain this is by citing My Hero Academia. Like the core appeal to the more exciting parts of that show are how everybody has like this one skill, and they use that to like solve problems, and they all like run into the same types of problems, and it's really just interesting to see how they deal with that problem. And then Ruby's reaction at the end is the punchline. It's just like, oh, poor Ruby. Again, it's an interesting take on the suffering aspect of comedy.
Like stupid people with stupid semblances. Hey, look at me.
Hey, look at me. I'm rich. I use dust. I have a cool semblance. Isn't life easy?
Salty.
Yeah, Salty Ruby is the best in this.
Salty Ruby is pretty good. Now, I mean, I think I have to give credit to the voice actors, and in fairness, also to Carrie's direction. because I think in general, I think you have to get good voice deliveries, especially on a comedy thing, and I think they did a really good job with it. Like he's definitely, I think Carrie's doing a good job directing them to deliver the lines in the right way, and I think that helps. Like I think it helped that skit, the way she delivered the lines, like how disgruntled she sounds. It's not something she's really had to do before, so I think I have to give him some credit for, because I know he does the direction in the sound booths too, so I think that helped a lot.
Yeah.
RWBY Chibi is their range practice.
It is. It honestly is. They do a good job with it for the most part.
Like, you can thank the writers all you want, which Carrie wrote all the skits in these earlier episodes, or helped write the skits in all these earlier episodes. And then Miles kind of took over in some of the later episodes, actually. With help from like other outside sources, but his direct, like, a key component in a pillar of comedy is timing. Everybody knows that by now, I'm sure. And that is really up to the director, especially like in the sound booth, working with the voice actors, or being a voice actor, like everybody working on the show, from the voice cast at least, they all have really good comedic timing. The only ones that kind of don't are Jen Brown and Neith Ohm. Like, they don't quite have the timing down as much, which just requires even better direction from Carrie to, like, get it right, so to speak.
That's true. Which is impressive that Ren is still one of the funniest people. Is still one of the two, in my opinion, one of the two funniest.
Yeah, like English isn't even Neith Ohm's primary language, so you can.
Yes, exactly. You can't blame him, exactly.
Oh, just lucky enough, he's voicing a character which is not for the whole part meant to be funny, but
well, at the same time, there is comedic value in not being
the silent type.
Slap happy. I mean, fucking Three Stooges with Larry. Larry wasn't cracking jokes left and right like Moe and Curly.
You know, if they're a silent character, they're thinking of something devious.
I mean, goddamn, the funniest thing in the history of ever is Who's on First. And most of Abbott's lines are just saying who
so
over and over again.
Ever.
Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know. Who's on third?
Yeah, that is still one of the best comedy skits ever.
Visual comedy and also this auditory comedy.
Well, yeah, that's.
I didn't even watch it for the first time. I listened to it the first time. Yeah. I still thought it was the best thing ever.
There's the whole black and white movie of it as well out there.
Well, yeah, there's videos of it, and they did perform it live at plenty of stuff and on television and stuff, but they also performed it on the radio, and it's Who's on First is much more of it's about writing and timing and vocal delivery. Like, there's not a lot of physical humor in it. It's mostly like just the two of them standing around and, you know, giving the occasional emote. But that's Who's on First. Which, as much as I love Chibi, nothing really compares to Who's on First.
I don't know almost any comedy shows that have done a bit that's that legendary. So it's not really, we're not being fair to Chibi comparing it to that, because you can't really compare anything to that. Yeah. So let's go to
the Godfather of comedy.
It is.
I could get some Paul Hogue stuff, but yeah. You know, Crocodile Dundee.
So, also in episode 4 is Present for Blake.
Yep. Which I actually I didn't think it was that was another subversion of expectation joke. I didn't think it was super funny, but I liked that as another one where I like that they're putting some continuity into Chibi.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's all character stuff, and like Yang's reaction is the punchline, because she's like, I spent however much money on this tea set, and you're just gonna sit in the fucking box?
Yeah. Which is a joke.
Yeah, owner, I can confirm.
Rugrats did it. Calvin and Hobbes did it even before Rugrats did it. The oldest one that I know is Calvin joke, but I'm sure people have probably technically even done it before Calvin and Hobbes did it. Although I want to say Calvin and Hobbes did do it the best because they turn into one of the main vehicles of the show is Calvin's cardboard box. If anybody's
pretty sure.
But I'm sure it's been done before that.
I've also done it as well with their boxing episode.
Yes, the box episode of SpongeBob, which they took from Rugrats, which took from Calvin and Hobbes. And I'm saying that it's very entirely possible that Calvin and Hobbes took it from somebody else too. Although I'm not sure about that because cardboard boxes are not actually that old. So my guess is that Calvin and Hobbes probably did the cardboard box joke first. And so now Ruby's doing it too, which I'm fine with because it's always a funny gag.
Yeah.
So, next one's the marshmallow one, which is kind of
just Ruby, Blake, and Weiss fucking with Yang.
I know that one's coming. Not super funny, but it's definitely it's. I'm glad they did it because they kind of have to do that at least once to take advantage of that joke. So then episode 5.
That brings us to episode 5.
We should probably start skipping over some of these a little bit more. We're only on episode 5, you know.
It's 24 episodes.
Yeah, it's 24 episodes.
Yeah.
So I thought the costume party one was funny because the way they did the ships, which obviously they did that on purpose. I thought that was funny.
Ear cleaning, whatever.
Boring. The cards one I thought was pretty meh also.
But then the cards and money birds kind of led into the showdown.
So yeah, there's really two.
Cards to the showdown.
Episode 5 is a really good episode. There's two really good standout bits, which is the sissy fight and shadow people.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm not actually a big fan of shadow people, but I know a lot of people who do. I'm, surprisingly enough, I'm not a big fan of breaking the fourth wall.
I love breaking the fourth wall.
Really?
Breaking the fourth wall is the ultimate in subversion of expectations, but it's also breaking immersion. And I'm somebody who I like to get that. We'll get to that.
So the last episode wasn't your favorite?
So
yeah, no. Because breaking the fourth wall breaks immersion, and the shadow people thing hasn't even been a thing since Volume 1.
Yeah.
So of the 4 big fourth wall breaks that RWBY Chibi has done, this is probably the weakest.
Which is this one?
The shadow people. The shadow people.
See, I liked the shadow people.
As far as how they break the fourth wall, it's kind of the weakest.
Are you saying you don't like black people?
But there is a fourth wall break that I like even less.
You can get away with that joke a lot easier because you're in Australia, Ballsy. That's a much more difficult to get away with.
Right down the street. I live right down the street from Ferguson. I don't live here.
Hey, I'm not the one who said you didn't like the shadow people. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like the shadow people one partly because I absolutely adore the episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender where they call out all their stuff that they fucked up.
Yeah, it's like the third last episode. Yeah, it's like the third to last episode. Yeah, well, technically it's like the 5th to last episode, but yeah, it's essentially it's like the 3rd to last episode. The last standalone episode.
Yeah, the last standalone episode. It's the one where they do the
recap of the whole entire series.
Yeah, the Ember Island players, where they just make fun of everything that they've done, over-exaggerate everything. And I loved that episode. And it is not quite fourth wall breaking, but it kind of is, really.
It's perfect material for a nostalgia critic to do his Avatar Last Airbender movie review.
Or anybody to do an Avatar Last Airbender movie.
That is such a great video. I encourage everybody to watch that video. Even if you don't like Nostalgia Critic, that episode is good.
Yep.
So, but the thing is, I will admit that I think there's a point that I think media's right, kind of, in that they're not elegant about the way they break the fourth wall. They're not clever about the way they break the fourth wall. They just do it. So it's definitely not the best skit, but I appreciate that they're willing to talk about that and admit that.
And again, it's there's all kinds of comedy in RWBY Chibi, so it's bound to happen that there's going to be a few fourth wall breaks.
Yes, exactly.
And sometimes they work. There's one, like another one that would be in my top 10 at least, is a fourth wall break. And yeah, we'll get to another.
I mean, it's not in my top 10.
Next.
Again, the biggest reason why I like it is that it sets a precedent for the fact that they do call out things from the actual show, which again, I keep teasing this, I'm going to get into this later on. And I like that, and I like that they do that in Chibi. I like that Chibi does reference the actual show. So that's what I like.
Next episode, people.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about Sissy Fight a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I hate that one.
I have a soft spot for this one.
Tumblefly.
I loved Tumblefly.
Not because
is amazing.
So
Tumblefly is great. That's the only good part of that one is Tumblefly.
One of the funny, like, when I was watching this for the first time last year, one of the most laugh out loud moments I had in the entire series was like at the climax of the Sissy Fight skit, where RWBY says, "The foolishness you have tolerated compares not to the foolishness in which you have fooled." I love stuff like that.
Okay, so here's the reason why I don't like that as much, is because they already made a joke about RWBY in the actual show, which I think was done better.
Yeah.
I like the one where she talks to Winter better.
Oh yeah, that's a.
So that's why I don't care.
At a later juncture,
it's like there's
we'll reconvene at a later juncture.
Yeah, at a juncture.
Yes.
I just think it's super adorable when RWBY is like trying to trip over. It trips over her words trying to sound smart. There's an old Robot Chicken sketch with George Bush.
Robot Chicken, oh my god!
It's the one where George Bush gets force powers and becomes a Jedi. And he finds Abraham Lincoln, and Abraham Lincoln is like, who dares disturb my slumber?" And George Bush is like, "Who dares disturb my daring of his dare? Jerk." Like that, that's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That's some old.
Yeah, that had to have been. That has to be
10
almost
years
like
ago.
10 years old. Because it was part of the original Robot Chicken Star Wars special.
I have that on DVD, I think.
Yeah, but anyway. Next episode is
Is the vacuum one?
Yes.
Yes.
I like that one. Cute. It's funny. It's not. You don't really need to talk about it too much. I like when it's just funny. It's like acting. It's more like racist jokes of Blakey acting like a cat.
Yeah, more racist humor.
They're not so
from
afraid of
RWBY.
the vacuum. They're more afraid of Weiss dancing while she's vacuuming. And
And the next one, I mean, I didn't really find super funny, but I did like that they called out Professor Peach. I thought that was kind of funny, but that's about it.
Well, that is Cape Trubs, which the whole no capes from Incredibles. So it's basically like all the cape gags that they had for RWBY Chibi all put into one episode, and it's my favorite part of the episode. I wouldn't count it as one of my favorites. But
the rest of that episode was pretty bad. The muddy boots thing was not funny. The book one that they did, I didn't get the point. Not funny. That's such a low level joke. And then the other one, which I sure
break, which everybody freaking loves, and I just like. It's the worst fourth wall break in the show. It's not the weakest as far as like why they're breaking the fourth wall, but the joke.
People freaked out when
even comedy has to follow kind of like its own internal logic, and RWBY Chibi takes place entirely in Beacon, except for a few times that they're like outside the dust shop.
Yeah.
So
Or the arcade.
yeah.
Or the airport.
Oh, there is also the airport. It takes up to
And the pool.
up to this point. It had been
And the-
entirely in Beacon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So no fourth wall break there.
Okay.
The fact that it's not overrun by Grimm, and that there's not a dragon on the tower, or that Yang
Mhm.
has both her arms.
Yeah.
There's no fourth wall jokes about that. Instead,
yeah. A
they,
Yang arm joke would have been way funnier, honestly. I'm surprised they haven't. Actually,
Yeah.
I realized that. I'm pissed they never made a joke about Yang's arm in Chibi.
it's
What-
coming,
It's
I'm
for next
sure.
season.
I mean, it better come this season because that I actually want. But the thing is, okay, here's the thing. To me, the biggest problem is that's not even a joke. Like, there wasn't even actually a joke there. Nora saying nothing happened. That's not actually a joke.
The fan base is the joke.
Yeah, the fan base is the joke, which to me isn't funny. So I don't think we should. I don't think this skit deserves to be talked about much more because I don't
All
think.
right, then episode 7.
Yeah, so episode 7. I didn't find the Weiss ice. I mean, I get where they were going with the Weiss ice prank. I just didn't think it was very funny at all, personally.
It was kind of cringy, but at the same time, like, it goes back to all these jokes are based around very simplified versions of these characters, and Weiss they made petty.
Which is true.
Although-
I also kind of like the one thing I do like about it isn't the petty part. I like that they went with. I also kind of like the idea that she doesn't understand what pranking actually is,
Yeah.
so she doesn't understand when she goes too far, and I think that's the funny part about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's super funny, but I think that's where they were going with it.
No, Nora with
Yeah,
Teddy there.
but this is the same episode. Another thing that would probably be in my top 5 favorite skits. Jean experiments.
Booty dance.
I thought
Mhm.
I do not like this one. I thought I got bored of this one halfway through.
This is
It was too
the
long.
skit. It's actually broken up. They start off with it, and I think they end off with it too.
Yeah, they end with it too. I like the Nora with the teddy bear one. It's funny, but it's not really super memorable.
But I love the fact that Jean is like tests out all of Team RWBY's weapons, and then the punchline
The
is
scythe is just
all
so heavy.
their different reactions to it. Like RWBY's like all being nice and smiling, and Weiss is just like, Sean, you're an idiot. Yeah, he's like, like actually like laughing at him, and Blake's just like is broken.
Yeah, I just-
And,
I mean,
Sean,
I
and
thought
Sean
it was
just
bad.
owns it.
I mean, I like that Jean owns it, but I thought the joke went on too long.
Yeah.
I don't think we need.
I don't think
The
it went on
weight
too
of
long, but
RWBY's
what do I know?
scythe.
I'm not
Can
comedian.
we talk about the weight of RWBY's scythe?
Yes, we can talk about that.
That's some YouTube's logic there.
Yeah, that's because she's been shown to be super weak without her weapon. Like
At the
in
same
terms
time,
of-
she has like that I don't get.
Yeah, let's not get started on that. So maybe we shouldn't. Sorry, Ballsy. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
She
later,
karate chopped a
maybe.
guy through a window in the very first episode. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we're gonna end up. Yeah, we're gonna.
Ranting. Okay. Episode 8 then.
Yeah, episode 8 then. I like this. I like this one a lot, actually, because this is an example of Nora stealing the scene even without Ren, where like the whole this was good because they did set it up well, and then I just think it's funny the way, like, Nora being over the top and eating and being able to get away with whatever is funny. Which is funny also because they kind of explain it later, the fact that she does work out like crazy. But I don't know, I just thought it was kind of funny, like seeing Yang disappointed like that. Yang annoyed is always funny, I think.
Yeah.
Disappointed, angry Yang is always funny.
Yangry.
And yeah, Yangry is always funny, and Nora being the one that goes over the top to make Yangry is funny to me. The Magnets one was
This is the one that gave us the unholy purist green meme.
yeah. I didn't think it was super funny, but I can definitely understand why it was memed so much because the animation was funny.
Yeah,
So
I'm looking at it now actually, and oh wow,
I thought
yeah.
the weak. See, the thing is, to me though, to talk about the next one.
But no, my favorite part of that like skit is actually at the very end with the VHS tapes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
VHS, there's some magnets, guys.
But the thing is,
this is another one like Cape Trubs where it's like all of their Pyrrha has magnesis.
Yeah. The thing that's weak to me though is the fact that they do a magnet joke the very next skit. That's weak. Like I think that's dumb. Like that's like you just did that joke. Why are you doing it again? So that's
next skit.
Pyrrha's a compass.
That's technically part of the same skit. It's all part of magnetic personality.
Oh, okay. I guess
like it's one of those like Cape Trubs, where it's like just all of the magnetic jokes that they came up with.
All right, I guess that's technically more forgivable. It still felt like 2, and that made it not as enjoyable for me. But yeah, I guess I get it. You knew they had to do it. I just thought they could have done a better job. But at least the thing was memeable. All right, the last one is the basement joke. See, I think this is pretty funny. And I don't. It's not super funny, but it's one of those ones that I like, even though it's not super laugh out loud funny. And I like that. It's one of those ones that, I love the port thing. Sports, like no girls allowed.
No girls allowed.
Visual gags, like stuff that the animators probably added in.
Yeah, and I like that it's calling out stuff from Volume 4. Or Volume 3, sorry, Volume 3. So this is, I think, where I have to go off on a little rant real quick. And I'll probably come back to this. No, I'm going to save it. Sorry.
Wait, for which skit were you about to...
The basement joke.
Oh.
Where they go in the basement and then the shop keep just sweeping up and like, get out.
Yeah. Which is funny that he's there. It's a nice little subversive expectation, but
does that suggest anything to the main canon plot?
That's what I was going to talk about.
No.
It doesn't, but it touches on stuff. So I'm going to save it for the analysis. Okay, I think we need to speed up even more. We're only at
episode 9. Come on, guys. No more than 3 minutes per episode. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of these later ones don't have as many skits to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So RWBY say I like the way they talk. I like the way RWBY says "I bored, entertain me." I think that's funny. Otherwise, I don't think
that's my life.
Yeah, that's funny. But otherwise, I'm like kind of whatever about that skit. Does anybody else have anything else to add about that one?
I feel Vice's pain.
You made me do this in all caps.
You made me do this.
Yeah, that was funny too.
Yeah, we also have Ren Plays Tag.
That one I really like. I love this one. This is one of the best ones. This is definitely
they introduced the biggest fan.
This one I absolutely love because this is a perfect example of Ren and Nora's dynamic working super well. Ren being the serious, the straight man, and Nora being my example would be the Smothers Brothers. Actually, that's my favorite comedy duo. With Red being Dickie and Nora being Tommy, and I think I just love that he goes. It's another one they did. They set up the whole thing, and then just fuck it. Just everything gets fucked at the end by Nora being ridiculous. So I think that's why I like that one a lot. I like how they set it up, and I like how their Ren and Nora's personalities play off each other really well. Again, with Ren making things too serious, it always works well.
Okay, next episode.
Next episode. Best skit in the whole show is the very first one.
That's where the first team meme came from.
Because everybody kind of generally agree on this one basically being the best one.
It's got everyone. It doesn't have everyone, but it has everybody within like the dynamic. And how has this skit not launched any Vice X Pyrrha stuff?
Because the fan base makes no sense. But I don't know if we have to really talk about this one. This is the one where
we have referenced this plenty of times in the podcast.
Yeah, we've past 1 million times.
Yeah, if only.
Yeah, if only. That is super funny because that's a great it's a slight subversion of expectations because you have Ren analyzing everybody else being ignorant of the person who likes them, and then you have him ignoring the person who likes him. Nora, and of course, Nora being super over the top with the fucking sign that says "Notice me" with hearts all over it is fucking hilarious, and that thus spawns the Renpai memes. Renpai, and as we know, in Volume 4, indeed finally noticed. So now the Renpai memes are probably pretty much over, but hey, they had a good 6 to 7 months.
Yep.
But yeah, there's not much to say. That's my favorite skit from the whole show.
Yeah, it's
and then there's the paintings.
Yeah, I think it's pretty. It's a lot of people.
The paintings
I don't like as much as we love this skit. I don't want it to overshadow too much another skit that would be in my top 10. The skit right after this. You don't understand my vision.
This is actually, I'm almost 100% sure this is the strongest. To me, this is the strongest episode.
Episode 10.
Because I liked all.
Yeah.
Middle of the series. They're finally getting into the groove of the series.
Yeah, and I love how confidently she says it's a butt. Like that's funny.
And then Ren nods.
Yeah, and Ren, and then Ren subtly agreeing with her again.
I mean, what was the point of view that she was painting Zwei at? She was probably facing that direction.
Doesn't matter, it's a butt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I love
it's a little kissy X butt.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree that's a very good one as well.
And then there's the Nora shaving Ren's head.
Which I also love. I absolutely love that one too. It's Nora being ridiculous and them just absolutely hammering us over the head with Renora. All throughout Chibi, it's just so much Renora in it, and I'm gonna love that. And I thought it was pretty well done. And then it's also spawned the Nora approves meme, which is a pretty good meme as well, with the winking smile.
Wink fast.
They do a good job of just taking advantage of Sam Ireland and inflicting her personality into the actual thing. I think it's really good. Nora and Chibi's amazing. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Does that bring us into episode 11?
Yes. Pancakes.
Which is actually my only Renora meme the only Renora skit I don't like. Because I just thought it was way too obvious and it kind of a bad Sarah Silverman joke. Which is actually all Sarah Silverman jokes, because there are no good Sarah Silverman jokes. But I just felt like it kind of went on too long. It's like you kind of... And there's no subversion, there's no physical... There's nothing. So I like the dynamic of Ren not being super mad at her, but it's not funny. But that's just kind of cute.
Okay. Then there's the next one, the John ASMR.
Which I actually
I only found out today after doing a bit of research into this. That Miles Luna has a YouTube channel, and he has a video on there called ASMR, The Hero's Journey. It's a full half-an-hour long ASMR video that Miles Luna made, a.k.a. shot the voice actor for Jean.
I do not have 30 minutes to watch that right now.
And I would actually watch that.
And it's referencing that particular video he made.
Oh god.
John doing ASMR.
It's a fairly funny... I thought it was a fairly funny skit, but it wasn't... To me, it wasn't... I thought... Nora's punchline was pretty funny, but I think the funniest part is just the fact that John's doing ASMR in the first place.
And then Pierce, the special girl, then Pierce says,
yeah, special... Yeah. I thought that was funny as well.
Okay, RWBY method of taking care of... Okay.
Hang in there, the Blake Monster.
That one is great. I love that. The Yang at the end fucking makes that joke. And
what was Weiss expecting?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the other thing is it's something that it's a great joke. I think it's a great skit because it's something almost everybody can relate to. Because I think a lot of people can relate to their grandparents or parents or whatever with those, whatever the home remedies or whatever quirky thing that your family does to take care of people, or just quirky things your family does in general. And even if your family isn't going to do exactly the same thing that they're doing, it's still something you can totally relate to. And I think that's what makes that skit work so well.
Yep. All right, episode 12, people.
Yep. Junior Detectives, I didn't find funny.
The first appearance of Junior Detectives.
Yeah,
or as Nostalgia Critic would say, the ambiguously gay duo.
Yeah, exactly. I don't find Neptune funny in any skit in Chibi. I realize Neptune's even weaker than Pyrrha. I don't find him funny. There's only one skit with him in it that's even funny, and it's not funny because of him. I don't understand Neptune in any of these. I didn't think he was written well in these. And I don't hate him in the show, but I don't find him funny in Chibi at all. So
I like him just fine in Chibi.
Is this skit funny? I didn't find this skit funny.
He's not a good life god.
Yeah. But I didn't find this skit was very funny.
Okay.
This is the weakest of the Junior Detectives.
The weakest episode for sure. This is the weakest episode, period, I think. The Little Red Riding Hood one it's kind of funny in
that's right.
parts,
This is the same one.
It's not that funny. I think we can kind of. I mean, does anybody else have anything to say about it? It's like not.
And then it's Ozpin as the narrator.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
They try to do the
And Professor Paul is like.
Well, yeah, they try to.
Why would you
RWBY...
have this doesn't even work as a weapon. Like, why would you have two blades on it? How would you even fire it as a weapon?
That was the one funny line.
Professor Paul.
Yeah.
Personal preference.
That was the one.
They try to be funny with Ruby as a Mary Sue, which I fundamentally disagree with the notion that she's a Mary Sue. Like she's really, really not.
I know. We'll talk this another time. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually have a schedule of videos I'm doing on our Facebook page, Ruby and Beyond. Shameless plug. It's basically a schedule of everything I'm doing leading up to Volume 5.
By the way, when are you going to officially title this podcast the Ruby and Beyond podcast? Because so then we can actually
when we talk about something other than Ruby.
We will. We
watch Mad Max.
We have to do something Star Wars oriented.
I mean, we talk enough about Naruto.
Yeah, that's true. We talk enough about
Naruto. Me and Saka have already talked about that.
Have you seen Studio Ghibli films?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, we talk about Studio Ghibli.
How about completely ruin Nausicaa Valley of the Wind?
Let's not get into
that. And the slightly, when you watch that movie and you're slightly drugged, the sexual innuendos in that movie are strong. The Ohm with their tentacles.
Don't remind me of Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah. 12 was the worst episode. I think basically we can have all agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to 13.
Transitions to a very good episode 13 with Spin the Bottle. Definitely one of the better ones. Ren's deadpan reaction is amazing. As I think that's what Robert said, one of our good friends, Robert, is in Ruby and Beyond in our Discord group, said the best thing to do is just fucking own it.
Yeah.
Yep.
When something like that happens, luckily not too many people turn this into the martial arts, because really that is like, I think a lot of people hopefully do understand that that's really the best reaction is just fucking own it. And, Ren's deadpan is very funny. Again, even when it's not with Nora, Ren or individual Ren and Nora memes tend to be the funniest skits, not memes, whatever.
And Nora,
he
had the
spray prepared.
It's definitely one of the funnier ones.
He had the mouse spray prepared.
Yeah, exactly. He has the mouse spray ready to go, and so I think that's pretty funny. The next one is
Y Part 3.
Yeah. Which this is really just a setup for the next one, and I like the Nora one again. It's another good one. Not super funny, but
this is Nora's workout.
Yeah, I like
derogatory.
I like the funny, like, just the wording is the funny part. You know, that you bet your love handles it is, and the delivery is very funny. And I like how she uses thunder thighs as a good thing, not as a bad thing.
And
I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, she is the lightning god, so.
So I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's also funny because she's based off of Thor. So
also, I want to know about her grandma.
Yeah. So I think that one's pretty funny too. Like, it's just Nora being ridiculous. So episode 14.
Okay.
I think it's kind of funny. Like, if you look at it in terms of payoff, I don't. This Y versus Blake part, whatever it is super funny, but it's just cute.
Yeah. This skit is called Tired Blake.
Is there unauthorized snuggles?
Unauthorized snuggles, yes.
I thought it was cute. Like, I think Aaron's deadpan actually works in this one very well.
And it was payoff for all the other Blake vs. Y stuff.
Exactly.
If anyone finds out about this,
this is also the one that gave us Big Vacation, which is the first skit that has everyone up to that point in it. Everyone that has been in RWBY Chibi up to that point is
and a new set.
Episode.
The airport.
Yeah. I could actually totally see this happening in the actual series.
I like that. I actually like this one a lot. I love Blake's delivery of "I want all the fish" is super funny to me. And again, Ren, like, so casually just dragging it. I don't understand. Your name is Neptune.
I'm assuming that's the funniest Neptune joke you were talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
They make Neptune so gay in this, though.
I'm going to talk about
it.
When you get to
episode 24, I am in episode 24.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I like the beach one. The interesting about that is the funny part is not Weiss getting upset at RWBY. It's all the other stuff that's going on that's funny. That's just a vehicle for all the other little jokes that they throw in there. Then the last one,
Junior Detectives Bad Cop.
This one is the only funny Junior Detectives one at all, and it's because of Nora. The whole reason why this is one of my favorite skits is again Sam Ireland's acting and the good direction of how she does all these different, like, ye olde voices, like see? She actually does a little bit of, like, the Chicago cop accent and stuff like that, and I think that's funny. And the fact that the way she turns the whole scene around on Neptune, and then has her own mustache at the end, and fist bumps with Sun, to me is super fucking hilarious. I love that. Like, to me, that made this one of my favorite jokes. But again, Neptune's not funny at all in this. I had to point that out, that Neptune is not funny. It's the whole scene is funny, but it's Nora that makes it funny. It's one of my favorites, but it's the only good Junior Detectives one.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Episode 15. We're making good progress, guys.
Yep. Bike one is super meh. I didn't find that one very funny at all. I don't know if there's anything else to say. That's a very forgettable one.
The only funny one from that one, though, was Jean saying, "I'd be a good boy if it got me all the kisses."
Yeah, that was kind of. I'll get that. It's kind of funny, but you didn't need the whole rest of the. Like, it wasn't funny enough to pay off for the rest of it. In my opinion.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that was kind of funny. Okay, now I'm gonna rant about Neptune being gay, because here's the thing that I like about Chibi is it takes the characters' personalities that do exist in the show, and if there's one of the things that RWBY does well is, I think they generally give the characters decent personalities, and the best thing about the show, which we just touched on, Media and I talked about this, is the individual character interactions between characters is what RWBY does extremely well. One of these certain one-on-one scenes, like Renora in Volume 4, the Jean and RWBY stuff that happens, the Blake and Yang stuff in Volume 2, individual one-on-one character interactions is done extremely well.
It's like real life.
A lot of shows. So that's the
real life, essentially. It's like there's ways people will act around a crowd of people, a group of people, and there's ways people will act when they're in like individual situations, like one-on-one.
And I think RWBY does that well as a show overall. Besides the fact that Blake makes no sense. But the thing is, and what Chibi does well is it takes those personalities that in general they've done a good job building up, and then exaggerates them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily a negative, but it's more of a question, and it kind of goes into my other thing of Chibi actually being very tied into the show itself, which personally I actually really hope it is. Why is Neptune so incredibly gay in Chibi? Like, he is super gay. He is flamboyantly homosexual. I mean, the mustaches, the way he acts, the prissy way he does everything. He is extremely overtly gay. Why? Because so far on the show, we honestly haven't really seen. So my question is, are we going to get that in the future? Is Neptune actually gay? Is this a clue for the actual show? And in my opinion, it's a 75% chance at least that is the case, and that Chibi is cluing us into the real Neptune. They didn't have time because in the actual show.
About that.
What?
I didn't even think that might be a possibility.
I am thinking that because it's true for. They hit us
he
over the
did-
head with Renora.
One of my theories.
Although he did try to go to the dance with Weiss, so.
And we got Renora. It does well. That's okay. You can't use that because there's a lot of gay people. There's a lot of gay people who pretend to be straight or try to be straight. Neptune definitely plays up trying to be cool. He absolutely could be covering up. And they have mentioned that there are homosexual characters in the show, and we really haven't seen that yet. Absolutely could be Neptune. I'm just saying because they teased the shit, they hit us over the head with Renora, and we got the most Renora we've ever gotten, and the most in the show in Volume 4. So I'm saying this absolutely could be a clue because they kind of did that, and my opinion on Chibi is that there actually is a lot of tie-ins with the actual show. There's a decent amount of continuity in Chibi in some way.
As much as the creators say it's not canon, it is.
It's kind of canon. Chibi really honestly is kind of canon, even though they say it's not.
Fourth wall breaks notwithstanding.
Fourth wall breaks notwithstanding, it is partly canon. And I want to say this is a clue that Neptune is in fact gay. And they can say that they didn't give it away because it's just Chibi, but then it turns out he actually is gay. And I think part of it is because they probably meant for him to be that way, and they've written him, they know that the whole time, but stupid fucking Team Coffee has pushed Team Sun further out of the...
Okay, yeah. I'm going to reference your video, Media. That is probably correct. Like, if Coffee wasn't in it, before you get more, Team Sun development.
We probably would have gotten a hint at Neptune's sexual orientation. And here's the thing, if he isn't actually gay, I'm kind of annoyed because if he's not gay, why did they give him that personality in the show? Because everybody else is an exaggerated form of their actual self.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune, by default, has to be gay then. And if he's not, then that makes no sense. Why the fuck did they do? Fine, either way, fine. But if he's straight, it makes no sense. So I'm saying I think that's a big clue.
Alrighty, onto your Renora section skit.
Oh yes, more Renora hitting us over the head. I love this. I love. Again, it's the juxtaposition of Ren being the straight man, being the reasonable person, and Nora being fucking ridiculously over the top, crazy in love with Ren. I love it. I actually don't really have much else to say because that's just the funny part. We already know that. Any scene with them...
And the punchline is that it's probably a Beowulf. And
of course.
It wasn't actually a romantic gesture. She was just fucking with them.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's funny.
Yes, that's what Nora wants to do.
Yep. Yes. Oh, she wants the D. Absolutely. She's super rensexual. She is the OG rensexual.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Come on, she's been rensexual since they were like 8 years old, as episode 10 Kurayuri proved.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 16, people.
I like this one. I like the bike race. I think there's a couple of pretty funny lines in it. I like the subversion of expectation is good in this one.
Stardust.
I like Stardust, Nana Schnee. I also love that she says, I have plenty of horses, which to me, I think is a reference to her being rich. I like how I think that's what the joke is there. I think that's pretty funny. And I love Yang's delivery of what and how is super funny.
Yes.
Like this is great there, and I love that they make a Fast and Furious reference. I was so fat, and now I am just furious. Like, that's funny. That's definitely one of my favorite ones. It's probably in my top 5, actually. I think that one's super funny.
And then there's Yang puns.
Yeah, I don't think this was super great. I don't think it's bad. I like how they kind of had Sun try to steal the show a little bit, which is kind of funny, you know? But, I mean, you had to do a Yang pun skit. They had to do it. Right?
And they had, of course, they had to have everybody boo her because, God damn it,
she made one single pun in the show.
God damn it, Barb. Yep, exactly.
She made one pun in the show. Like, I like to start my day off with a Yang.
She's made a few other ones in Volume 2 and 3.
Kitty, what? Have you got anything to add to this?
I just know she.
Puns?
I just know she didn't make any in Volume 1.
Yeah.
Well, Volume 1 is the only one I've rewatched recently, and that's because I did the What If RWBY Volume 1 was good.
Yeah, there aren't really that many puns in the actual show either.
No, but I mean, I understand why they do it because of Barbara, so I have no problem with it. I thought it was kind of super funny.
But
and
then
John up his son.
Jean and Yui.
That
I love RWBY's part of that skit.
It's just like, I'm having good adventures.
The plot is happening.
The plot along.
Yeah, the plot is happening now.
Yeah, I like that line. Yeah, the plot development is happening now, or whatever she says. I love that. The other thing I want to point out with this one is this is another one. I think this is kind of the rant that I want to go on, is that I feel like Chibi really is partly canon, essentially, and I think it does actually keep current with the show, and I think we will get Volume 4 references and some clues to Volume 5 in Chibi 2. I really hope that's what they do, because I know some people have theorized that they really are stuck between Volumes 2 and 3. They're not, because they've referenced Volume 3 things. They reference the elevator shows that they actually reference things from later in Volume 3.
Also,
so
the introducing Pyrrha.
It's exactly. So as much as that wasn't a funny joke, it shows that they do actually everything that's happened. So I think we will get Volume 4 things, and that makes me excited.
The theory that was going around when this was coming out, that Chibi was all like just RWBY's fever dream while she was blacked out.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if I buy into that, but it's because it's going to keep going, is my point. And so kind of led.
I want them to make a Belladonna bathroom skit.
Oh god.
It's like the one we did in the.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
We'll get to that to the hopes for our hopes for Volume 2. Okay. That's coming up. I'm trying to keep everything about a certain character that I want very much. Trying to keep that controlled.
Okay.
The thing I like about this is that I think this is kind of a hint to Volume 4, because it's joking about how Jean's not really involved in anything, and then in Volume 4 he's fucking super involved in everything with the plot. So I feel like they did that on purpose, and I feel like that was known, and I like how we can go back and watch Volume 4 and then go back to Chibi and see those things and make them, which I really like. And I like that about Chibi, because I kind of like how to me, Chibi's actually a better World of Remnant. Is it actually hints at things that are going to happen in the coming volumes and explains things that happen better than World of Remnant does. And it's funnier. That's kind of what I see Chibi as. So now on 17, right?
That's 17. John needing to use the bathroom.
I also love Blake mixing John up with Sun. That's super funny too.
Are you sure you're not the one with the monkey tail?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, shooting Black Sun shippers in the
Any
heart.
blonde will do, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Shooting Black Sun shippers in the heart there for 5 seconds. All right, yeah. I honestly didn't find the bathroom skit funny at all. So if anybody has something to talk about that, they can. But I didn't find that one
I've
funny.
I've kind of been in that situation before.
It's a classic type thing. It's actually my favorite. It's my favorite skit in this episode. I just really like that. I really like
yes,
the.
I've been in that situation before.
Yeah, I've been in that situation, and I like seeing classic comedy routines. Given the RWBY Chibi treatment, I should say.
I gotta say, like, there was space at the end, like, really, John? Really? Why? She was so done.
I like your notes for the next episode, the next skit.
I like this one better because it's Ren being calm and Nora being ridiculously over the top. Like, I love her trying to get him to save her. Like, the fact that she can kick the shit out of Grimm, like, I think that makes it funny. And I love how much of a bitch she is to everybody else that saves her. I think that's funny the entire time. And I also think this is another example, personally, again, of my Chibi is kind of canon and hints at the coming volume, because she is trying to get him to save her from a Grimm the entire episode, which, as it turns out in Volume 4, is how she fell in love with him in the first place and how they became friends. He saved her from a Grimm.
From the Nuka-Mafe.
There's no way that that's not tied together. There's no way they didn't know exactly what they were doing with that. And again, I like this because that means that Chibi is partly canon and it's tied to the show more than people initially thought it was going to be. And I like that. Also, just, the delivery of, how she's able to turn it into something positive. Ren thinks I'm amazing!
I took another one.
That is some, that's some, Fleischer... That's some Fleischer stuff.
I just love saying
that's some deep cut animation references.
If we're watching season 2 of RWBY Chibi, I'm going to do a podcast before Volume 5 or after Volume 5 for RWBY Chibi.
What do you mean?
Like, we're just doing a RWBY Chibi Season 1 podcast now, after Volume 4's done. So we can actually see the references.
I think we might do kind of both. I think we might do a summary of the end of Chibi, kind of tied in with I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I think we will have to do if this is true. I'll put it this way: if my theory is accurate and Chibi is this much tied to the actual show, then
hey, it's not canon.
Then yes, I think we are going to have to touch on that after Volume 5 happens. Yes. Or we might not have to because it might be something we can touch on during our Volume 5 podcasts anyway.
Yeah.
We don't have to. But I think we're going to have to do... We already said we're going... Well, we can talk about at the end how we're going to do our podcasts for RWBY Chibi, because we are going to be doing podcasts during RWBY Chibi, just not every week. So we are going to be doing something like that.
It probably won't be 2 hours long.
Media and I have already decided that, so we'll talk about that at the end.
All right. Let's continue on. Episode 18. No. Musical Neptune, sorry. First, 17.
I love the 80s music, but again, Neptune, why is he so gay? And it's not funny. I just don't see any of it being super funny. There's nothing really about that one.
Okay, episode 18.
This
Yang's
is one of my favorites.
Really? I hate this one. I absolutely hate this one. I didn't find it funny at all.
Not the skit, just the episode in general. I do really like the pickle skit, but it's actually the middle skit that's just like, oh my god, this is exactly this is exactly what I wanted for my birthday.
Okay.
Even though it came out I don't know. Gotta look up release dates.
Let's go and
It had to have come out around my birthday though.
Yang opening the pickle jar, so we go raise this kind of funny, but
the evil plans one?
Yes, it's like
yes.
I think that was pretty funny. I love it. Not evil.
With kittens. Yes.
Yeah.
Kitten Killer or something like that.
The Kitten Killer 9000.
Got the Kitten Killer 9000 here. Yuri Lowenthal. More lines in this episode. More lines in this little skit that he had in all of Volume 4.
Yeah, that's exactly the joke I was going to make. With that one line, he has more lines in Chibi, 1, than he does in all of Volume 4.
Like Neptune in the whole series, too.
What are they doing with Yuri Lowenthal wasting... Okay, we're not going to get off on that tangent. So.
He's also in Camp, so at least they're paying him well for a good show.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I love Saturday morning cartoons. I don't know if you guys have figured this out yet.
I think we have.
Yeah.
No. Can you continue?
This is exactly like what I wanted the villains to be. Like, this is some Skeletor. Meanwhile,
it totally
in the
is.
Legion of Doom, Masters of Evil type.
Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom.
Like, yeah, and I agree, because
right down to Jessica Negri's nailing an evil laugh.
In fairness, I used to hate on her. She does absolutely 100% nail that. She definitely does that.
Again, like, it's gotta be just the direction that Monty and Carrie were giving her in volumes 1 through 3.
Yeah, because in fairness, I will admit, I think, as some people say, she's not really voice acting in Volume 4. I actually really love the subtle voice acting stuff she does in Volume 4. I am no longer a Jessica Negri hater. I was in Volumes 1 through 3, and I have to admit, I think it was the direction was the biggest.
The thing is, especially in Volume 3, she just did that same stupid, condescending voice for everything.
Yep.
And it just got, like, it was not appropriate for all the situations she was in. This one, they just freaking cut her loose and basically made her Mojo Jojo.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? Hey, shit, she can do that. And then in Volume 4 itself, she actually did the subtle. She does some very good subtle frustration lines while barely being able to talk, which was very impressive to me, actually.
Yeah, and the facial animations really sell Cinder for it.
Yeah, they definitely help. But I'm just saying, I do have to give her some credit, especially considering how much I used to hate on her before. But yes, she does the maniacal evil laughter great, and I'm with you. I literally got up early every Saturday morning as a kid to watch my Animaniacs and mostly Animaniacs, but Batman and all the other Saturday morning cartoons. And this is exactly what I was hoping for with the bad guys as well. And I'm glad that's what we got. So the Cake Butler thing is kind of funny. I feel like
there's no curtains on the window behind her when the camera view's coming out of the oven and see.
Yeah, animation budget and a little bit.
The only time there's curtains in that kitchen ever is when they're on fire.
Yeah.
Even during the skit, the only time there's curtains is when they're on fire. It's like she found curtains, hung them up, lit them on fire, and then started complaining like, "Yeah."
That was a hint at
Climb.
No, that was actually a hint at Yang's house, their kitchen.
Yes, yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
For those of you who don't know, the model for the house on Patch is just all kinds of fucked.
It is all kinds of fucked.
They create big cakes.
Yeah, like the gaslight stove with the curtains hanging over it, and then the cupboards that are like 15 feet in the air.
Although they fix that up during Volume 4.
Yeah. But, alright, so let's go on to the next thing, right? Episode 19?
Yeah, episode 19.
No, my evil pleasure spoiled again!
And nefarious plot! Or something like that. I don't remember. I can't do the voice.
This is one of those ones that I like because I never laughed out loud at this one, but I still enjoyed the skit. And I like the Scooby-Doo reference. Yeah. I like the Scooby-Doo reference.
Yeah, Life of Y. Then that's a play on Life of Pi, which has absolutely nothing to do with the skit. It's just a pun.
Which is probably good. It's probably just a playoff of Life of Pi being overrated. So.
Oh. I mean, I agree with you, but yeah.
So, okay.
Hello, Pi.
I like Ren in this
again,
game.
Does Neptune is gay, basically.
He's the one who came up with the idea.
Does
And
Bruno,
then
does Bruno Mars
Sam's
is
just-
gay? I has to know.
Wait, what?
Watch Game Grumps.
Okay.
It'll be fine, guys. Come on.
I mean, come on, the giggling and the spitting, it's
I'll
just...
share a link to what I'm talking about in shitposting, so you can
Ow,
watch later.
ow. Feather my eye.
Even though I've shared this like so
Right
many
inside
times
my eye.
on so many different groups.
See, I'm not a huge fan of this one because it's another one where they did the joke already in the food fight episode, which was actually, I really liked the food fight in Volume 2. So it's like they already did the overdone childhood fight thing. They're kind of trying to do the same thing here. They already did the joke. They did it better in the actual episode. So to me, it wasn't a super funny one, personally, the pillow fight one.
The payoff at the end, but
Yeah, but the end was funny, but it's not. I didn't think it was worth that long, being that long.
At least
Alright.
Ren was good in that one, throwing the book at them.
the Shadow Clone in episode 20. Let's go to that.
I love that one. That one is actually really great. I think
What did Weiss do?
Yeah, what did Weiss do?
Yeah.
I like that.
What did she think that Blake caught her do?
That's pretty funny. No, I like
Reading
that one.
Ninjas of Love.
And then also just all the tuna.
Yeah, and all the tuna
Because
jokes.
Blake is a cat and RWBY Chibi will not let you forget that.
Exactly. Blake racist jokes are still funny.
Not black racist jokes, but
Especially coming from Weiss, who is in fact a racist.
Yeah, exactly.
At least she is in Volume 1.
Just why they made her German, of course.
but then Weiss and Chibi kind of like, you know
Is
what?
that why she's white too? I'm sorry.
I know. Well, her name is
I'm terrible.
her name is White Snow. She's named in the German way. Yeah, no, I mean,
By that logic, Blake would be black, which has not stopped DeviantArt.
Yep, nope, it has not stopped DeviantArt. And in fairness to DeviantArt, RWBY is a very whitewashed show. In fairness to DeviantArt, let's point that out real quick. It took them quite a while to get some actual color going on, and even then, it's just white and black. There's no other I don't know. Anyway,
Well, Ren's supposed to be Asian.
I guess kind of. Yeah, I guess you're right. One. So anyway,
And Hanzo.
his dad Hanzo, yeah. And like every other Hanzo main, he dies early on, and we never see him again.
I just remember the Fat Man Falling bit. Like, Ren's semblance is to become Asian!
I'm actually not a big Fat Man Falling fan, but that's funny. Okay,
Because in that episode he's British, and then he unlocks
Yeah.
his aura, and he turns Asian.
I mean, we all made those jokes.
Yeah.
Alright, episode 20. We're in the home.
Ren.
Yeah.
Oh.
Zwei versus
Cinder-
the Beowulf. I love the visual gag of like RWBY is holding Zwei and Cinder is holding a Beowulf.
And again,
It's that classic like dogs trying to get into a fight and like, oh no, he's usually much more well behaved.
and again, we get to see Jessica Negri doing a joke that's doing a voice that's not the same voice every time, and she does a pretty good job again. So, you know, she's overheard from RWBY, but I hear the line she's doing. So,
And then the most Hanna-Barbera Warner Brothers animation studio gag in the entire series, Roman's Revenge.
I love this one. This is so
Best girl's back. And
yeah.
by that I mean Roman.
Roman
Best
is
girl.
best girl. Roman is definitely best girl.
Best grill.
I mean, how many Hanna-Barbera references do they pack into, or how many like 60s cartoon references anyway do they cram into this 30 seconds with him and Neo?
I mean, I love that because I appreciate
Scooby-Doo.
I like they do Scooby-Doo, they do Wile E. Coyote.
Coyote. Yeah. No, that's about it, really.
And in my opinion, we get some like campy like 1960s Batman villain shit too.
Yeah, with the Death Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also like kind of a Fleischer Superman thing.
Yeah. So I appreciate that Miles and Carrie, as 90s kids, also know all these older things too, because I feel like this current, like the 20... I
mean, Looney Tunes is an American institution, and Scooby-Doo hasn't exactly gone away.
Exactly. But I still feel like they're referencing more of the original stuff. I don't know how much, like, kids these days... I know it makes me sound fucking ancient, even though I'm only 25. But I don't know how much kids these days are being exposed to stuff like Boomerang and, like, old Flintstones, old Scooby-Doo, old, like, original Warner Brothers.
Even, like, Boomerang... You know what counts for a Boomerang show now? Like Dexter's Lab.
Yeah, see, that's my point.
I feel like nothing has ever made me feel so old as seeing that Powerpuff Girls was having a marathon on Boomerang.
Yeah, that's true. Like, so I think my point is, like, I appreciate that Miles and Carrie are actual 90s kids, and, like, I think all of us here are on this podcast. I think we're all in our 20s, like, mid-ish 20s, or early mid-20s, or something like that, right?
Yeah. 23.
Yeah, I'm 25. Media's 23. Yeah, so we're all in our mid-20s. So we're all 90s kids. So I appreciate that Miles and Carrie, as also 90s kids, because I think Miles is my age, and Carrie is about my age, too. They know actual old Boomerang cartoons, because I don't think kids these days... God, I feel like... God, get off my lawn. Are actually...
get off my spawn.
Are actually watching, like, the original Scooby-Doo stuff as much, and the original Looney Tunes stuff, and the original Hanna-Barbera, all of that stuff. I don't think the modern kids today are actually being exposed to that the way we all were when we were kids, even though that stuff was old by the time we were when we were kids, it was already old. Just because it's a little bit older now doesn't mean kids these days shouldn't be watching. And I don't think they are. And I love that's what Miles and Carrie are throwing in there.
Yeah, especially like kids nowadays. Like kids who are growing up and their parents are like, oh no, you can't have Wile E. Coyote supports the patriarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, damn it. You just reminded me of all these old, like, Looney Tunes. The one where it's like Bugs Bunny is literally painting in and out like Daffy Duck and all this stuff.
That's probably like the funniest.
That's like 50s. Ever. That is like the 50s cut.
I believe that's a Chuck Jones one. So it would be late 60s actually. Because that was on the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie, which was actually just a collection of Chuck Jones cartoons with Bugs Bunny hanging out in his mansion as kind of a connection to all the anthology stuff. But yeah, I had that on VHS. Like I freaking broke that VHS tape when I was a kid. I watched it so many times.
Oh, I have Chuck Jones collections on VHS. Yeah. Anyway, we're going too crazy. All right, so
let's go to the next episode.
Let's go to the 24th and a half.
Oh, no, so checkmate jerk. Oh wait, no, that's 21, episode 21. Yeah, we are episode 21 now.
Yeah, 21 has
the friendship bracelet.
The friendship bracelet.
That's referencing
I'm sure that's
referencing a comic.
Yeah,
someone made.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, there's been comic. Stuff like that, but the thing that actually came to my mind was Death Note, which is not the kind of thing you would think somebody would think of when watching RWBY Chibi.
No, that makes sense.
But for some reason, the whole handcuff thing reminded me of that string of episodes in Death Note when L handcuffed himself to Light in order to keep an eye on him. Then we got Letter to Winter, which is canon. She's certainly a she's certainly a person. And then Ruby eats a cookie with her nose.
Okay, see, I had a problem with this one. I didn't find it funny at all because, again, this is a joke that they made better in the actual show. Why are they making the same joke again and not changing anything about it?
Because they have to fill out 24 episodes somehow.
It's true. I'm just saying we can still complain about. Again, Chibi is still very good. There's not a ton to complain about, but they already made this joke and it was done better in the show. You know, I like the jokes. I like the joke about Ruby being so awkward when she meets Winter. I think that was super funny, actually, in a generally weak part of that season. So I think I don't know why they had to do it here. So yeah. That's actually another one of the weaker episodes overall. Or no, wait, never mind. There's actually other funny ones. Never mind.
Yeah, and then we got the checkmate joke,
which was kind of funny, and at least that was short and sweet, so you didn't overdo it.
Yeah, and then Cinder Who.
Cinder rhymes are amazing. I loved it. This is again that over the top, crazy, campy bullshit that we wanted to see, and I love it. I love that's what they gave. That they gave it to us.
Checkmate.
One, but I love the Cinder rhymes. Like all the silly Cinder things are fucking hilarious.
This one was based on the fan comic, right?
Yes, this one. Yeah. And they did credit him, Darcel. I didn't write down the last name. Shout out to Darcel for writing this and coming up with the story for it. Actually, all the ones in this episode. This was like fan appreciation episode. Is the thing. They were all written by all the stories were written by fans.
Oh.
So yeah,
fan comics.
I only wrote down for some reason I only wrote down their first names. Icha did Friends Forever, Youngjin did Letter to Winter, Ken did Checkmate, and Darcel did Cinder Who.
Oh.
And then Miles and Carrie turned it into Chibified it.
All right.
But yeah, the Cinder one is just one of my favorites. I love the Chibi villains. Yeah, Cinder balls. My nefarious plans.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And she delivers that well. Again, Jessica doing a good job in Chibi. So yeah, those were all super funny. So the next one is.
Next one it has.
I also love that they keep the characterizations in that one where Mercury wants Neo to shoot the gun and Emerald doesn't. That I like how they keep that consistent. I think that's.
Oh yeah, Cinder stalls.
Yeah.
And how Mercury is laughing at Cinder with Cinder Falls, and he's the one doing the sock puppet.
Yes, exactly. I like all that. I like how they keep that going because I think that will help us with, again, that just adds to my theory about it being kind of canon. So yeah, the next one, here's the thing. Nora is super funny at the beginning. Like, I love the, physical humor of her literally smacking Red in the head with a metal hammer. And the fact that, how her funny, the way she delivers her oatmeal line, a joke about her head turning into oatmeal is really funny. And then after that, that skit is terrible. I don't find it funny at all. It's just really awkward and not in a funny way. For some
reason, this is the skit that everybody remembers from this episode, though, because Compost King.
It's just because of Compost King, though, but it's not actually funny. It's because of Oscar.
Yeah,
that's why people remember it.
Right.
It's not funny. It's just people remember it because the Compost King is a funny title and because of Oscar. That's it. It's not a funny title.
And I was telling Ballsy about this shortly before we started, but the whole Jean is Compost King thing originated in Volume 1. It's when he said that, something along the lines of, if this doesn't work out for me, I could always be a farmer or something.
I'm back, by the way. Hi.
Hi.
I'm not big into the skit either. I'm also not that big of a fan of the next one, Security Woes, which is just Mercury going through the metal detector.
Yeah, it's
crying.
fine, but it's not amazing.
Robots, which is a stupid movie, by the way, did this joke better.
Yeah, and the next one is great though because it's the
floor is lava.
The floor is lava makes no sense, and I love it.
Exactly, I love it. I love how
absurd. It is absurd humor.
That was a fun game to play.
Yeah, it's perfect on every level. Every kid's played that game. It's a super fun game when you're a kid. Honestly, if I had a big enough house, I'd play it as an adult. It's a great nostalgia factor.
Well, here in Missouri, we get to play The Floor is Water.
Yeah. Topical jokes are topical. If you make jokes already, if you guys don't know, right now, Missouri literally is becoming an ocean.
Yes.
Extreme flooding is happening in Missouri right now.
Yeah, it is so bad. It is so bad that my classes have gotten canceled.
I haven't heard of that in a while. Usually you get snow days, he gets flood days. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh goodness, it's miserable down here. But yeah, the floor is then. It goes back to the ice sculpture skit, where you see how Weiss and Yang and I think Blake. Do we see Blake?
No, Blake was already.
Blake was already there. So you see how Weiss and Yang deal with the situation, and then Roman's just not having any of it because why would he? It's a stupid kids game. And then the floor is actually lava.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm killing you first.
And I love all the juxtapositions of the expressions too, like how Yang, Blake, and Weiss just could not give less of a fuck. They give less fucks than 1960s cartoon Spider-Man does. And
then when Roman actually falls through the floor, and their face is like, what?
What?
We could have.
What and how?
Like you think that the joke is going to be Ruby's naivety, like, oh, they're just playing up the fact that Ruby's 2 years younger than them and is immature. But no, the floor is actually lava. That's the joke.
Subvert expectations.
Yeah, because there's no reason why you would think that. It just goes out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, you can't help but laugh because it's one of those moments where you kind of realize the futility of life and start having an existential crisis. And you just can't help but laugh. But that brings us to episode 20.
Episode 23, you mean?
That's what I said, episode 23.
You got cut off, I think. That's
Okay.
We were 20. We were at episode 20.
Yeah, well, everybody else heard 23.
This is one of my least favorite ones. It's not funny at all. It's just super annoying.
You really do not like junior detectives.
No, it's not
detectives.
The only funny one is when Nora is the only funny part. There's no joke here.
Because Nora's bae.
Yeah, Nora is bae. That is true. Okay, but she's also genuinely funny in this, and there's nothing funny about this one. Like, it's just annoying. Like, Neptune is just being like a fucking pest.
Yeah, I will. This is the worst of the junior detective stuff.
It is the worst of the detective. So let's just ignore it because it fucking sucks. Here's the funny thing about this next one. They reference the dance. And again, I like this because it shows continuity, some sort of continuity, even though they kind of like reference the dance in like different ways in the show.
I love how John is a fucking diva.
Yes.
When it comes to dancing. He's the only one,
best...
because he's the only other one, like, he grew up with 7 sisters. He knows how to dance, like, by himself. And he's just, like, not dealing with any of this. And Ren is uptight perfectionist, which, again, like, Ren was created by Monty. And Monty loves dancing. Like, Monty did all the mocap work for the dance sequence in Volume 2.
And if anybody is an uptight perfectionist, it's fucking Monty, the guy who works 26 hours straight.
I'd say he's more of a workaholic than a perfectionist.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But it's along the same lines. Like, he's inflicting that in the same way. That's a good point. But he's still inflicting the same sort of thing.
And then Nora's just crying.
He just cries. Yeah.
Just a big old wah.
Yeah. And so I like it. So the funniest part is not, the other, it's what's actually happening in the, it's not the fact that they did train and they weren't in sync. That's the funny part. The funny part is what's happening in the scene itself, when the little flashback scene itself. That's what I like about that one.
Yeah, and then we got the fourth wall break to break.
I love this one.
I like this one because it's a fourth so over and hitting you on the head. Because it actually goes to live action. And to me, that's fucking hilarious.
Well, and they set it up. This is the best fourth wall break that they do in this.
I agree.
Show. And the setup and build up to it too. Like,
it makes sense.
You could actually cut it off with Nora like being comatose on the floor, and it would kind of be its own joke. And then they add on to it through the slip through space and time with her like going through all the different dimensions and stuff, and each one increasingly more and more absurd until you get to our world with Samantha Ireland in the voice booth with Miles and Carrie talking to her.
You know what I like about this one? It's when she's going through the different dimensions. In the subtitles, they actually have the ships. And at one point, there's Ruby and Shopkeep, and they're like, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
And then you see Jean and Neptune standing over her, holding like clipboards. I'm like, are they writing the script? I was like, that was way too clever.
I did not even catch that.
Wait.
That was like my favorite thing.
Say that again?
Jean and Neptune.
They were holding clipboards, so, they were probably watching Nora having her freak out.
Wow, I didn't even know
it wasn't Sun?
Okay, now we have to do research.
No, it was...
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That's amazing.
I did not even catch that.
I will look for that screen cap if I have to, because I swore I saw that.
I'm going to watch it right now. It is a good thing we have you on this podcast.
How did you guys not notice that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, granted, I've only watched these. I've only watched these twice. I watched them once as they were coming out, and then I watched them once last night while preparing for this.
Media
notices everything.
I noticed it the first time. I don't know how, because it was going kind of fast. I was like, wait. Clever.
And if that's true, that is also...
Like, I noticed stuff like one of the first iterations is Ren and Ruby switching heads.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Nope, they're holding clipboards. Are holding clipboards, and they do have pens. That is true.
Yes!
Absolutely 100% correct.
Jesus Christ. That is...
Oh my gosh.
That is some clever shit. That's some Hot Fuzz level clever.
Yep. It is
let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but that is certainly something that I would expect from like Edgar Wright.
It is Sun and Sean. That is awesome. Oh. That makes that joke. That makes that skit even better because that is super funny meta shit. I like that. That is really good. That was already a good one, but that makes it even funnier. That's definitely one of my favorites. I think it's a top 10 for me. It's not a top 5, but it's a top 10.
I think it just made my top 10 because of that.
It's closing in on top 5 because of that, for sure.
Oh, wow. So how do they follow up that joke with an episode with just one skit? It's the one with the laugh track.
Yeah,
somehow still less cringy than Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed.
Literally, the title of the episode on TikTok is the one with the laugh track.
Well, that's a Friends reference, obviously, because every Friends episode is titled "The One With." The one where. Sorry. The one where, but it's still got to be a Friends reference to me. And that's interesting. I find it funny even because they reference Friends. It's a big sitcom reference because they reference Seinfeld. Jeff does a Seinfeld-esque intro with the music, which I love. Thank you, Jeff. You're awesome.
Filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Like this whole skit is taking the piss out of sitcoms, and even though this is probably in like the top 5 weakest skits, it's actually still better than 90% of shows that use a laugh track.
That's true. I agree with that. It's not that funny.
But,
Nearly the end of the episode is so freaking cringy.
Like it's better than Big Bang Theory. It's better than King of Queens, which King of Queens has the worst use of a laugh track ever.
I mean, the thing is, the best like sitcom shows are ones without laugh tracks, like Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is a fucking classic. No laugh track. The Office, which I'm not even a huge fan of, I admit there are a lot of really super funny parts. It's no laugh track. They subvert and be funny in other ways by like doing the interviews and all the other weird shit they do. Not by
Seinfeld has a laugh track, doesn't it?
I think Seinfeld does, but it's got Seinfeld.
It's been a long time since I've seen Seinfeld, and if it does have a laugh track, I never really noticed it because
exactly
Seinfeld is deserved because I'm probably actually laughing.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually funny anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I think
they don't have to pay people to laugh like Big Bang Theory does.
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory, the Nickelback of sitcoms.
God damn.
I don't even remember who I got that joke from, so I can't give credit where credit is.
That is way too accurate. I love that. That is so fucking accurate.
I think that might be a Movie Bob reference.
That is the title of this. Can that please be the title of this podcast? RWBY Chibi. Oh no, you can't, because it's Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Not RWBY Chibi, not the Nickelback of TV shows. Okay, so anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm done. Just that I can't top that one. I've actually been waiting to say that all podcast.
No, I don't think you can. So let's go. Okay, so we can go into some. We don't really need to summarize it because we already kind of summarized that we like it. Again, I like that.
I want Neo's Neo.
I want some Neo's Neo.
You're not the only one.
I don't care if it's poison. I want some. So like I said, I guess we'll go into our hopes or predictions for season 2 of Chibi, because that's what's coming up next. And I'm sure nobody's really made it to the end of this podcast, but that's okay. The 2 people that have will enjoy this. So I'm glad we saw the trailer. We saw the trailer, and I thought it was funny. It's got a good sign. I don't see how they could really screw up too much.
There's so much they could fucking do with Penny.
Yeah, there is so much they can do with. So let's talk about what we're hoping the characters we want to see. Obviously, we're going to see Penny, which I think is great. I think there's there's a ton of potential with nuts and bolts jokes, which obviously they're going to do, and we're going to love.
And also like Weiss and Penny jokes, or Pyrrha and Penny jokes. Yeah,
exactly. There's so much to do with that. Penny is a fucking gold mine of chibi jokes. So glad to see it. I'm actually very happy that they saved Penny for Volume 2, because they got a lot of great stuff in Volume 1 of Chibi, and now they have adding Penny. Like, there's no way I can't imagine Chibi 2 being bad now. Some other characters I'd like to see that I'm not sure. I don't necessarily want to see these characters a lot, but I would like to see a Chibi Crow and a Chibi Winter. I think Chibi Winter would be funny.
The adults.
Yeah, Chibi adults would be fun. I don't necessarily want to see all of them. I could just see like a Chibi Crow, Chibi Port, Chibi Oobleck would be good. We don't need to see I don't think we need to see Chibi Ozpin or Chibi Glinda. We're not going to see Chibi Glinda.
Do you think we're seeing Oscar?
Yeah, we're not. We're not going to see.
I really don't want Chibi Oscar, because honestly, fuck Oscar as a character in general. Handled him so poorly in Volume 4. This part's Volume 4. All of us here, most of us.
I reckon they could do the Oscar thing of him.
We're not gonna get Chibi. We're not gonna get Chibi Glinda until they recast her.
Yeah, until they recast her, exactly. We're not gonna get Chibi Oscar because he hasn't been in the show at all, really. There's no point. There's no reason to like him.
Yeah, like who is he gonna interact with?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Who's he gonna interact with? There's no precedent. If they put him in there, they're fucking it up. But what I do want to see is Chibi fucking Callie. I want Chibi Callie so bad.
Aww.
Callie, there's so many like characters in Volume 4 that within the Beacon setting don't work as well.
Okay,
I could totally see them doing Callie. Maybe even have. Oh god, I just thought of something really terrible. Like a Parents' Day and everybody's parents shows up except Yang's. Except Raven.
So that's Ty.
No, Tai Yang will be with RWBY, and then Yang has no. Oh my god, that's amazing! And then Weiss is really pissed that Jacques is there. Jacques there, but Weiss is really upset about it.
And Salem is the one there.
And then Callie's there, and she's just waving at Sun like all friendly and shit.
Well, and Salem is there for Cinder.
And then Salem's there for Cinder. Oh my god, yes, please write this. Somebody, I don't have a Twitter account. Somebody please tweet Miles and Carrie right now.
I'll do that when we're done.
There's also a comic I made like in the middle of Lost, Volume 4, called the Belladonna Bathroom. It's a very simple 3-panel skit.
Yeah, but I think did I talk? I think I talked about that one on the podcast before.
Maybe.
Like I made a joke like, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if the Belladonna bathroom was a litter box?"
Yeah.
Since they're all cat faunas.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
That's what the whole comic is.
Chibi Volume 1, or Season 1, rather, it really set a precedent to where there are no lengths that these guys won't go with this show.
And I like that.
So some things that I want to see, like Penny's just gonna be an absolute gold mine.
I know, yeah.
As much
I want Callie because I think.
Yeah, I want Callie. I want Salem.
Nobody else besides Penny, and it would still be great. They don't even have to add anybody else. Penny alone would be enough for an absolute gold mine. And they could add, and if they add more, it's just icing on the cake. Penny alone is enough, though. That's what's awesome.
Yeah. I would also like to see Scarlet and Sage.
Yeah, I would too. I hope we don't see Team Coffee because fuck Team Coffee. But
you know what?
The trailer's
as somebody who has an 8-minute video of me just shitting on Team Coffee, I would actually kind of be fine with them so long as they're funny.
But see, the thing is, that goes back to my thing of clues about the show, because that's what I hope for. It looked like, especially after I rewatched it, especially after rewatching it after Volume 4, RWBY Chibi is partly canon. And there's like basically no denying that at this point. There's too many things that are obvious tie-ins that before they wouldn't necessarily be hints, but now are. And I hope they kind of keep doing that. Because all the Renora stuff was hitting stuff over the head, and all this. I think Neptune is a clue to his. Yeah. I think that's a clue. I honestly think that's a clue. I think there's a lot of stuff they kind of go back and forth. They're not, as much as they are stuck in Beacon, they are not stuck in just a certain spot of RWBY, because they reference things from everything from Volume 1 to Volume 3, which I like. It gives them more material, and it also ties the show closer into the actual show. We get an actual Cinder flashback in Season 2. Yeah, like
Tyrion's just messing with her, or pulling her hair or something. Something that. There are limitless possibilities with this cast of characters.
Stuff like that I would like to see I would like to see Ren and Nora's dynamic change, because their dynamic has changed in the actual show. I would love to see a preview of them, like somebody awkwardly walking in on them in some weird way in Chibi. Something I would like to see that kind of change, because let's be honest, the Nora pining after Ren jokes were amazing in Chibi Volume 1. But if they keep doing that, even I'm going to get tired of them after a while. And I think, and if I'm right, that they've already done that. And Renpai has noticed her in the actual show. So I feel like they should explore that dynamic in Chibi Volume 2 so we can see maybe what they're going to be doing in actual Volume 5.
I also want more Jean and Ruby stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then having Weiss kind of be jealous as all hell.
Yes, exactly. I want something like that because that's something like that has to happen in Volume 5. Because Jean is going to see Weiss again. Jean is a changed man. He's developed a lot, and either we've got to get some sort of interaction because they set up Jean pining after Weiss so much in the early part of the show. They have to touch on that. Even if White Knight doesn't become a thing, whether it does or not, it could. We'll know if it's going to be sort of a thing by this volume or not. Because still Lancaster could happen eventually anyway. So I think some hints like that with that little love triangle could actually be super funny again in volume, and changing the dynamic of the love triangle, because they did touch on it in one of the episodes of Chibi. I'd like them to change that dynamic a bit with the new. I'm hoping that Chibi is not too stagnant and that they do adapt it to what has happened in the recent volumes and adapt it to what is going to happen in the coming volumes. I think that makes it better. I think that was one of the strengths of Chibi Volume 1, was that it's kind of canon, and I think that would help Volume 2. That's the one worry I have. If they don't do that, I don't think it will be as funny, because then it will get stale after.
It's like rewatching this now after through Volume 4.
Yeah.
It's like, this is so much better.
Yeah, exactly. So
again, that goes back to what we said at the very beginning of this podcast. RWBY Chibi is so much better at what it's trying to be than what RWBY the main series is.
RWBY canon. Yeah.
RWBY Chibi is a better comedy series than actual RWBY is a shonen.
Okay.
Like, this is a better version of Rock Lee Springtime of Youth than RWBY is a version of Naruto. It's just it should not be surprising, though.
Yeah.
Look at the writers, look at their track record, and look at the other stuff that they have going on. Carrie is very good at writing jokes. Way better than writing plot.
Very good at it.
And Miles can't keep continuity to save his fucking life.
This is why they need a professional writer in the actual RWBY show.
Technically speaking, they are professionals.
They need it.
An experienced professional, then.
They need somebody who can tie plot lines and character moments together instead of having them so segregated.
But get somebody who worked on Star Wars The Clone Wars or Avatar The Last Airbender. Somebody who did a decent job writing an episode.
Preferably Avatar, because even though the direction I want the show to go in would be more suited for like Dave Filoni or Jenny Tartakovsky, people who are way out of Rooster Teeth's pay grade, by the way, but make the kinds of shows that I love. But for what RWBY actually needs, because with shows like that, Carrie's kind of got it covered with his strengths, and really so does Miles. What they need is somebody more along the lines of somebody from anime, somebody from like Avatar or Gravity Falls. Again, Alex Hirsch, way out of their pay grade, but
I reckon he might actually be willing to do that for.
And I think they would want to keep it, I think realistically they would want to keep it close at home and promote from within. I
actually don't think it's out of their pay grade, because let's be honest, RWBY sells merch like a motherfucker. I think they're making money hand over fist with RWBY.
Yep.
So I would say, and I've had this discussion with a lot of people, and I think every single person I've talked to about this, they agree with me on this, even people that I had disagree with everything else they talked about. Everybody agrees they are way better off getting a professional, really fucking good writer than they are changing the animation or upping the animation at all. You could leave the animation the same.
There's a decent quality of animation and a good system for it now.
Yeah, they're good. It's good enough that they need better writing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I hope they do the as we discussed in one of the previous podcasts with the Avatar Last Airbender kind of thing with the police state of.
Those are our Volume 5 predictions.
Like, if next season is not the Boss Sing Say season, I will be supremely pissed off.
I will be disappointed as well.
Because it seems like they're setting it up to be a police state.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we don't have to worry about Volume 5 until fucking October.
Which was the best episode of best season.
25 weeks away.
Yep.
Yeah. Damn,
So
we're going to be getting RWBY Chibi right up to the freaking 11th hour.
Right until the 11th hour. So, speaking of that, if you guys are fans of our podcast, which you should be, because our podcast is awesome, exactly what a podcast should be. It tangents like a motherfucker. That's every good podcast. Listen, watch the Co-Optional podcast. It's one of the best podcasts. That's all they do is tangent.
I agree.
Oh, you watched that? You listened to that?
I watched every single one of you guys' podcasts, so...
Oh, you watched our podcast, that's right. Okay. Well, now you're on it. Now you're part of our podcast. So, we are going to be, Media and I talked about it, we are going to be doing, because we are expecting about 24 episodes of Chibi again. So, we will be doing Chibi podcasts, which we keep saying they should be shorter. Hopefully, they will actually be shorter.
Well, this one hasn't even hit the 2.5 hour mark yet.
Woo!
Yeah, we're at 2:21.
21, alright. Still longer than it should be. That's okay. We had fun.
We went through 24 episodes.
We covered the entire thing.
And 70 skits.
So we're hoping to do a podcast for every 4 episodes of Chibi. That's what we're expecting to do the rest of up until the next RWBY season. However, as soon as we get any decent amount of information, so if we get a lot of...
Which probably won't be until RTX.
Yes, it probably won't be until RTX. So expect probably a podcast sometime pretty soon after RTX to discuss whatever we get out of that. And if somebody does... Well, we'll have to figure out if we're going to talk about if somebody, takes a video of whatever they show, are we going to talk about that? We'll decide that when it comes.
Somebody will do it, and since I have no self-restraint, I'll end up watching it.
I'll end up watching it too, so we'll probably end up talking about it then, because we're going to watch it, because I have no self-restraint either. So expect a podcast probably on RTX, because that we should be doing stuff like that. Expect a podcast as soon as they drop any sort of trailer, teaser, if they do like the intro before it happens, anything like that. Podcasts on that in addition to the Chibi podcasts.
Potentially, would there be a cap? Could we do maybe a podcast of Camp?
I think we probably might. There's a good chance we could. We're not sure about that yet. This is what we know we're going to do. We know we're going to do all.
There are ideas.
But I would be down for a Camp podcast as well, because then we call it the RWBY and Beyond podcast finally. And also, hopefully, please, can we do a podcast on when Star Wars 8 comes out? I need to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
We have to do that. I know we have to do that as well. So expect stuff like that coming. And yeah, I have nothing to promote anymore. I'm still writing my book. I'm making a lot of progress on that, but that's nothing to show right now. So I have nothing to promote right now. I'm sure Media and Kitty definitely have stuff to promote because they actually create content.
Yay!
Yeah.
You wanna go first, Kitty?
Sure. YouTube, and I'm on RWBY Amino. So there's that. Expect things. I'm hoping to maybe do some voiced over comics. I just need people to do voices. Hint, hint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I can do a deep voice, but that's basically all I can do.
Something with my OCs, you're definitely Shiro, so.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. I'll whatever you need me to do, I'm down.
I don't know if you need a baritone Australian voice, but okay.
Australian voice.
I got one.
Australian voice is always alright.
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Right. Everybody can do an Australian accent.
Everyone can do an Australian accent. That's all I'm hearing.
Before we started full on war with
Race war.
Australia. That's not
Sorry.
a race because you're all white anyway.
Cultural war.
That makes it
Culture.
okay. Social justice warrior.
Anyway,
Don't
so
worry, Australia is built on.
My apologies to anybody who lives in Menagerie. I'm sorry.
if you like this podcast, like, comment, subscribe. I'm here on YouTube hosting these podcasts. I also do RWBY reviews or RWBY talks more likely now. And also a show called MIS, The Most Important Scene, where I talk about movies that I legitimately love with all my heart. The next one is coming a little slowly because I'm doing a lot more research than I did with my inaugural episode.
What are you doing for this one?
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh,
Nice.
yes! That is... Oh, yes.
So
Yes!
that will not be coming out for at least another 2 weeks.
The most underrated Disney song of all time.
Yeah, that's not going to come out for at least another 2 weeks, and then
And then there's Treasure Planet. That's
I
underrated as well.
the way I'm doing it, these podcasts are kind of, we plan them, but they're also like kind of spontaneous at the same time. So outside the podcast, I'm trying to do a RWBY video every other video, and then the other ones are MIS. So it goes like MIS RWBY, MIS RWBY, MIS RWBY. You can join the conversation on RWBY and Beyond Facebook page. There I actually have a list of every video I'm doing other than the podcast up to Volume 5's premiere. You can find me on fanfiction.net, Mediaocrity 4. I do RWBY Beyond. I do Just Act Casually. You can find me on Fiction Press. I do Guardians of Terra. Guardians of Terra has a much slower release schedule than RWBY Beyond does. The more people that read it, the more I'll be inclined to actually sit down and put out chapters for it. And then, RWBY Beyond is still on RWBY Beyond is still on I got a lot to cover. RWBY Beyond is still on hiatus, and it will be for about another week and a half. As soon as summer starts for me, I'll get back to writing it. I do have the next arc outlined. That's pretty much it. As far as
It is fanfiction. Do it. You're basically my favorite fanfiction artist. I mean, writer. Oh my god, I'm tired today. I'm sorry.
Hey, writing is a form of art.
Yes, but you're basically on my list of like top favorite RWBY fanfiction writers. So
Thank you.
read it.
You're the one that you don't understand why people like the best RWBY
Just Act
fan.
Casually. Oh, and Just Act Casually is getting a sequel this summer.
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Yes! Yes! Seriously, everybody go read Just That Casually. Alrighty.
Do it.
Good. Media says
Yeah.
he's not a funny guy in real life, but he's funny when he writes, at least.
Again,
He sits down and thinks about it.
anyway, that's all we have for you tonight. Have a good week, and if you're in Missouri, do your best to stay dry.
Bring a towel.
Stay safe.
Bring a towel.
Yeah, bring a towel. Get your fish some exercise. Watch out for sharks because that is actually a thing, right?
Yeah.
Bull shark.
Oy.
Well, sharks do come from Missouri.
Yes. It's not unheard of. Anyway, yeah.
So.
Good night, guys.